Okay, so we're going to start with the factoring numbers 1 through 5. It says you're factoring with a leading coefficient that does not equal 1. Whoa. Okay, what is the difference between these problems, like 1 through 6, as compared to what we did yesterday? Nick.
X squareds there's like 2x squared instead of just x squared.
Yeah, yesterday it was 1x squared, 1x squared, 1x squared. Today we're going to do it when there's not a 1 in front of the x squared, when there's a different number. Did you guys learn split the middle last year? Did everybody? Okay, if you didn't, I'm going to teach you split the middle now. So if there is not a 1 in front of the x squared, you have one additional step, or a few additional, I guess. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to multiply that number and the last number. So 2 times -3 is going to give me -6. So right now you're looking for two numbers that multiply to -6 and add to be the number in the middle, and add to 5. What two numbers multiply to -6 and add to be 5? Positive, negative,
Positive.
-3, -2,
Positive 2.
+2, -3.
Positive 2.
Guys, think. +2, +3. Does that work?
No.
Oh, 6 and 1.
It's not even 2 and 3. It's 6 and 1.
6 and negative.
6 and -1. Okay, so here's what you do from here. Is this middle term is going to be split into 2 using these two numbers. I get 6x and then I get -1x. The first term you bring down again, so the 2x squared. Last term you bring down again, the -3. Okay, so all we did was rewrite the middle term. Do you agree that 6 minus 1 is 5? Okay, so we didn't all we did was split that middle term into 2. When you have 4 terms, you want to split down the middle and factor both sides. Out of 2x squared and 6x, what is my greatest common factor? Do you know what I mean by that? What can you take out of both terms? 2. So within 2 and 6, you have a 2. They also both have an x, so I'm going to factor out an x. 2, take out a 2, I'm left with a 1. X squared, take out an x, I'm left with an x. 6x, take out a 2x, and I'm left with a 3. Does this look familiar at all? Yeah, Annie?
You think 1x, or can you just write x?
You just read x. Okay, on the right side, 1x and 3, there's nothing I can take out of both of those. But I notice that they're both negative. So I'm going to take out a -1. -1x, take out the negative, becomes positive x. -3, take out the -1, becomes positive 3. Okay, at this point, here's what you're looking for. If you do this correctly, your parentheses should match. They should be the same. If they don't match, you did something wrong. So your last step is you're going to write that set of parentheses, that x plus 3. And then the next factor is what's outside of the parentheses. So 2x minus 1 in this case. Okay, well, we're going to do some more. Okay.
What if you have your own way of doing it?
So some of you can factor this in your head,
Yeah.
and if you can justify that to me, that's fine. So like if you can explain to me what you did, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do a few more. Looking at problem 4. I notice I have 4x squared, not 1x squared. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply those. 4 times -15 is -60. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to -60 and add to be what? 4, number in the middle. Okay, what two numbers multiply to -60 and add to be 4? 6 and 10. So positive 10 and -6. Okay, again, here's how you use those. That middle term is going to be rewritten. So instead of 4x, you're going to have 10x minus 6x. Do we agree that 10 minus 6 is 4?
Yeah.
Okay, and then your first term stays the same. Your last term stays the same. One thing I forgot to mention, it doesn't matter the order that you put these in. So if you do -6 and then 10, that's going to give us the same answer. Once we have 4 terms, we split down the middle. Between 4 and 10, what is the greatest common factor? 2. And then they both have an x. 4x squared factor out of 2x, what am I left with? 2x. Plus 10x factor out of 2x, 5. Okay, on the right side, I have negative 6x and negative 15. They're both negative, so we're definitely going to factor out a negative. Is there an additional number that we take out? 3. So negative 6 take out negative 3 is going to leave us with 2x. Negative 15 factor out of negative 3 is going to leave us with what? Plus 5. Okay, at this point, how do I know that I'm on the right track? Parentheses match. So match, that's good. So my first factor becomes 2x plus 5. What's the second factor? Everything that's outside. 2x minus 3. How many of us does this ring a bell now? Like, okay. The rest of you, were you never taught to do it this way? No. Last year you weren't taught this at all? No. Okay. Are we clear on this? And if we're not clear on this, we have another idea of how we like to do these problems. Okay, we're going to do one more, but we're going to go on to the next section. So the next section is a similar idea, but it's solving. So these are equations, so they're set equal to 0. So for example, let's look at problem 12. Actually, I lied. Let's look at problem 11. We'll do both. We'll do 12 and then 11. Sorry for my indecisiveness. Okay, starting with problem 12. It's set equal to 0. We can ignore that until the very end. So we're going to start by factoring. What's my first step? Multiply 8 and 3. So I get 24. Looking for two numbers that multiply to 24 and add to be what? Negative 14. What are they?
Negative 12 and negative 2.
Negative 12 and negative 2. So our middle term gets rewritten as negative 12x minus 2x. Our first term stays 8x squared. Our last term stays positive 3. Okay. Out of the first two terms, what can I factor out? 4x. And I'm left with 2x minus 3. Out of the right side, what am I going to factor out? Okay, whatever the sign of this one is, of the first term, that's what you have to factor out. So negative 2x, you have to at least take out a negative 1. Is there anything else between the 2x and the 3? No. So negative 2x, take out a negative 1 becomes positive 2x. Positive 3, take out a negative 1 becomes negative 3. Okay, my first factor is 2x minus 3. It's the parentheses that are repeated. What's the next factor? 4x minus 1. Okay, now the reason that this is different is it's set equal to 0. So how does that change what I'm doing? You actually have to solve for x now. So you get 2x minus 3 equals 0. And you get 4x minus 1 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. What does that give me for x? 3 halves. So one solution for x is 3 over 2. 4x minus 1, what does that give me for x? 1/4. So this is my final answer this time. X in this case is 3 over 2 and then 1/4. Not too bad? No? Okay, question 11. We could just jump right into splitting the middle, but there's one step that's going to make our lives a whole lot easier. Do you happen to know what that step is?
Simplified,
What do you mean simplifying?
like making it, instead of like 12 and 18 and 6, you can make it 6,
Yeah.
9, and 3. 3,
There's a GCF. What is the GCF between 12, 18, and 6?
3.
6. 6. So factor out a 6 to start with. So that becomes 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 equals 0. These numbers are a whole lot easier to work with than the ones that we originally started with. So I do 2 times 1. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 2 and that add to be 3. What are they? 2 and 1. So this middle term, instead of 3x, I'm going to write 2x plus 1x. Keep that plus 1. Keep the 2x squared. And then what I have to remember is that I factored out a 6. We don't really care about the 6, but you just need to keep it there. Okay. On the left side, 2x squared and 2x. What can I factor out?
2x.
2x. Okay, so 2x squared, take out a 2x, leaves us with what? X. 2x, take out a 2x, leaves us with
0 plus
1. It's really important that you remember that plus 1. The right side, x plus 1. What can I factor out?
1.
A negative. There's no negatives at all. Just a 1. There's nothing. But write that 1 there. It's a placeholder. So that leaves us with x plus 1. Okay, so our first factor is x plus 1. It's the parentheses that are used twice. What's the second factor? 2x plus 1. Make sure you write that 6 out in front since it's the GCF. And then you set it equal to 0. Now, in this case, you have 3 things to set equal to 0. You have the first term, so you have 6 equals 0, which doesn't make any sense. You have x plus 1 equals 0, and then you have 2x plus 1 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0 gives us negative 1. 2x plus 1 gives us negative 1 half. Julia?
If we did like the other one, we still get the same answer.
Yeah, you still will. It's just going to be bigger numbers. Okay. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, I'm super great at this. I could take a test on it right now. How do we feel?
7.
7, 6,
Maybe
3.
just did 7.
Okay.
Then I was like, I would want to take a test on it right now.
Okay. Have I given us enough information that we can approach the problems? We might hit a few speed bumps, or not speed bumps,
Walls.
walls. You're in a car and you're gonna hit a wall. We might be slowed down a little bit, but you guys have enough information at least that we're okay for right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to go on to the next section because the next section is even harder than this stuff.
Can we just stop?
You can just
So
put
is
this
it
in
time
Because
because
then
time?
I'm gonna be like a negative 5.
No. Go on to the next section. Okay, next section, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of problems with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Problem number 1. Have you guys seen that factoring before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you guys did yesterday. So what am I looking for in problem number 1?
What add? Oh, so 9.
What adds to 2
63.
and multiplies to negative 63? So what is that? 9 and negative 7. So we get x plus 9, x minus 7. Okay, you're done. Not that bad. Okay. Problem 4. What type of factoring is this going to be?
The same GCF though.
Okay, well, we just learned. I cannot stress enough that it is going to make your life so much easier if you always take out the GCF. So, in this case, what is my GCF between 6, 39, and 21? 3. So you take out a 3. So you get 2x squared plus 13x minus 7. And then it's a split in the middle problem. I'm going to leave you guys to do that. Let's look at problem 7. Thank you. Okay, problem 7. What are a few things you notice about it? Okay, the exponents are higher. What else?
There is a GCF.
The numbers are bigger. There's a GCF.
Can't you take out the GCF?
Well, there's one other thing that's really important that I'm trying to get you to say.
Well, can't you take out the
What? There's exponents, yeah.
You can take them out.
Okay, we're going to. Do you notice that the exponents are out of order? All the other ones I gave you, x squared, x a number, x squared, x a number. Does the highest exponent come first here? No, so rewrite it so that the highest exponent comes first. So we have 36x to the 7th, plus 24x to the 5th, plus 12x to the 4th. Okay, what number can I take out of all three terms? Jordan?
12x4.
I could take out a 12. And then the lowest exponent I have is x to the 4th, so that's the GCF I have to take out. 36x to the 7th, when I factor out 12x to the 4th, what am I left with? 3x to the 3rd. 24x to the 5th, I take out 12x to the 4th. 2x. 12x to the 4th, I take out 12x to the 4th. 1. You have to put a 1 there. Now you have to ask yourself, does this factor? So is this part going to factor? Did I teach you at all how to factor x to the 3rd? Nope, so it doesn't factor. Okay, problem 10. How is problem 10 different than anything that you've done? It's A, so it has a different variable. Even more important than that, though. Huh? It has 4 terms. Any idea what to do when you have 4 terms? You pair them up. So remember when we did the split the middle on the previous page, you ended up with 4 terms and then you put it down the middle? Same thing here. On the left side, what am I going to factor out? A squared. A cubed, take out an a squared, I'm left with a. 3a squared, take out an a squared, I'm left with 3. What am I going to factor out on the right side? 2. You're left with a plus 3. How do I know I'm on the right track? Same. So I have a plus 3 and a squared plus 2. Not that bad? Okay, can I do one more with us that I think is particularly difficult? Look at problem 6. Ideas? Leave it. They all factor. Alexander?
Could you rewrite it as negative 4x squared plus 1?
You could. Let's see if that helps us. So he's saying put this first. So I get negative 4x squared plus 1. Do you guys like negatives? No, I personally hate negatives. So the fact that it says negative 4x squared just makes me cringe a little bit. So take out that negative. So this becomes a positive 4x squared. But you have to remember, if you have positive 1 and you take out a negative, it becomes negative 1. Okay, that looks a little bit better to me. Does 4x squared minus 1 factor? Well, 4 should kind of set off your brain a little bit. 4 is a perfect square. It's 2 times 2. Is x squared a perfect square? Yeah, x times x. 1 a perfect square?
Yeah.
1 times 1. Okay, so this is a difference of squares. 4x squared, you just told me, is 2x times 2x. 1 you just told me is 1 times 1. You get 1 positive and you get 1 negative. And then you have to remember that we took a negative out. Are we overwhelmed yet? Just a little bit. Can I erase what we've done here? Okay, we have some more examples on the next page, so we're going to do some of those together, and then I'll give you the rest of the time to work. Wow, I was really mean with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
It's only 40 problems.
It's only 27.
No,
No.
there's 12 and then it restarts back at 1.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice that.
You ready?
Okay. Problem 19. Well, actually, you guys tell me on this page which ones you want to do.
9, all, just the.
I will do 3 with you.
Could we only do the evens? Like
No. Which 3 would you like me to do with you?
20.
Okay, I heard 22. I heard 20.
27.
27?
22.
If we just do like either the evens and the odds.
Probably not. Okay, I will do 20, 22, and 25 with you. Okay, problem 20. This looks exactly like the problem that we just did. What do you know about 9? It's a perfect square. What do you know about 49? It's a perfect square. Okay, so to get 9t squared, I have 3t and 3t. To get 49, I have 7 and 7. 1 is positive, 1 is negative, and you set it equal to 0. Now, if I get 3t plus 7 equals 0, that gives me t equals negative 7/3. And then if I do 3t minus 7 equals 0, that gives me t equals positive 7/3. So I get 2 answers here, positive 7/3 and negative 7/3. Okay, one thing that I told you yesterday that you need to pay attention to is if your exponent is squared, it means you should have 2 answers. So I got 2 answers here. So on problem 22, how many answers should I get? What's the highest exponent? 3. How many answers should I have then? 3. Okay, we just talked about this. If there's 4 terms, what should I do? Split it down the middle. What can I factor out of the left side? R squared. And you're left with 2r plus 5. What am I going to factor out of the right side? Negative 1, because I have negative, negative, so negative 1, which changes it to be 2r plus 5. My parentheses are the same, which is a good sign. So 2r plus 5 is the first set of parentheses. Second one is r squared minus 1. Now, this is not going to factor anymore. We need to ask ourselves, does r squared minus 1 factor? It does. What does it factor to? Is r squared a perfect square? Is 1 a perfect square? Yeah. So to get r squared, I have r times r. To get 1, I have 1 times 1. You end up with 1 positive, 1 negative. And then you still have to remember that you have this 2r plus 5. Now, this is set equal to 0. Okay, solving the first set of parentheses gives us r is negative 5 over 2. Can you guys do that in your head? R plus 1 will give us negative 1, and r minus 1 will give us positive 1. Okay, r to the third, we got 3 answers. Questions? Can I erase this? Yeah. Okay, I would like to give you guys time to work from here. So, here's a